Hello Patriots, hello Americans, how you doing? Well, last week, or about 10 days ago, I gave a video about what was going on here in New York State with the inmate prison population. Since She-Devil, aka Governor Hochul, could not get her way with state workers or private companies in the state because she lost a battle in court case, she has now turned her attention to the inmate population. Now offering inmates free McDonald's, free Pizza Hut, or a Christmas roast beef dinner if they take one for the team, for the good of humanity. And I then began to ask, well, what if they don't get the results they want? Do they start taking away their commissary, their packages? Do they not allow them visitation? Or do they go further and say, no parole for you, or if you're on parole, you'll be a parole violator if you don't take one for the team? Or say goodbye to your conditional release, say goodbye to your good time, say goodbye to anything that's important to you, or you stay quarantined 23 hours a day, medically confined because of it. Or do they even go harsher than that, as history would tell us, and they start forcing this stuff in their arms, which is scary because now you're putting the staff in the jail at risk, and you're risking an uprising in a place where, let's face it, right now everyone's short-handed help. I'm sure the prison are no different, and if something jumps off there, now you have to call in outside agencies who are then themselves short-handed to handle it. So this doesn't end good either way if we were to get to that extreme. But at the same time, though, if you're an officer in these prisons and you're being holding these guys down to take one for the team against their will, well, remember this: you took an oath to the U.S. Constitution and to your state constitution wherever you work, or whatever county you work. So what applied in the Nuremberg trials of I was just following orders is also going to apply to you. So be careful what orders you follow, because by your oath you're supposed to follow only lawful orders, even if it is from on top themselves. Well, it seems like in the Washington D.C. County Jail, as we learned yesterday, what I said last week in that video is happening as we speak, or was happening as we speak. It seems like if the inmates there who have not been convicted of anything and are still waiting trial for a crime which they cannot get a trial because the judges keep postponing the trial because of so-called this great head cold that's going around. From what we found out now is that these guys awaiting trial have been denied good food, proper medical care. They've not given showers, not given haircuts, not being permitted to shave. They're living in very unsanitary conditions. We're being told that a lot of the toilets don't flush and you have backed up sewage. And this is probably why they, first off, stopped Louis Gohmert and Marjorie Taylor Greene from going in, even though they're part of the oversight committee, so they could clean it up, and why they initially stopped the U.S. Marshals from doing their inspection. Now, from what we know, the inspection just barely passed, so they had enough time to get it cleaned up as best they can. But now, as we hear, 200 inmates who are awaiting trial still are being sent to a federal penitentiary in Pennsylvania. 200 because of how terrible things were in that prison. Guys being told, if you want to see a lawyer, you need to take one for the team, and if you do see a lawyer and don't have one, you're quarantined for 2 weeks. I guess they want them to renounce Trump was ever president, wants them to renounce their beliefs, and wants them to denounce their whiteness, from what we've heard. I mean, this is stuff out of 1930s Germany. It's the same playbook, different country, different players. This is all this is. And for you officers in the D.C. County Jail that took part in this, shame on you. You took an oath. And if you participated in this, that boomerang's going to come back and hit you in the head. And again, you saying I was just following orders is not going to cut it in a court of law, because you took an oath. You took an oath to the Constitution, and not to a tyrannical government or a tyrannical administration of a jail. Now, I guess they say at a certain time they all sing the national anthem to keep each other's spirits high. I cannot imagine what it's like to be there for the last 10 months. You're basically a prisoner of war. They are violating your First Amendment rights, your Fourth Amendment rights, your Fifth Amendment rights, your rights to a speedy trial, your rights to a lawyer. And they say the lawyers, the public defense they are being given are leftists who don't want to cooperate. Just call this a kangaroo system, everyone, right now. And I'm telling you right now, for those people who are working in that jail, let me remind you, this is not 1971. This is 2021. And eventually, the information is going to get out, and you're going to have a lot to answer to. And if you think you're protected, or the higher-ups are going to protect you, history says the exact opposite. So, from this badge to other badges, I hope you get taken out, taken down. You're a disgrace to the uniform if you follow these ridiculous tyrannical orders. Now if you're saying out there, oh, you of all people, why are you defending inmates' rights? And officers, listen, right is still right, wrong is still wrong. I don't care if you think these people deserve it. Once you start violating one group's Bill of Rights or rights in general, it is easier for the government to start violating another group of their rights. And this is what history has told us. Now for you people like, no, the hell with them, let them live in those sanitary conditions, they don't deserve anything. Okay. So now the same group of people who said healthcare is right is now alright with these guys being denied healthcare. Am I right? Someone answer me this question. And it doesn't stop there, because with these unsanitary conditions, you do have uniformed staff who are working these prisons. You have uniformed supervisors and executive team and civilian employees who work in these conditions. They too can catch what the inmates are getting by their stupidity, and they too can bring it home to their houses and their communities. Now, again, if you're like, well, who cares? They knew what it was like. They knew what the job was about. It's part of the job. No, getting sick and getting hurt is not part of the job. It's the risk associated with the job, but they don't get paid to get sick. They don't get paid to get hurt. They get paid to do a job. Remember that. And this is all works good until maybe they start infecting some of the members in their block, in their community, in their town. Then what are you going to say after that? Oh, they should take one for the team. Well, what if they did take one for the team? What if they catch something else because conditions are so bad? What then? It's amazing. I did a video on this last week. I'll have that video posted below. You can check it out. And little did I know. Why, I had a hunch, but now it's being revealed what's going on in there. How bad it is in the D.C. County Jail. Folks, again, if you can do this to one group of citizens, it'll be easier to do it to a second and a third and a fourth. We're in exciting times, or also in very scary times. If you know the truth, you have nothing to worry about. You're pretty calm. For all those who rely on the TV for information, oh boy, I feel bad for you people if you're still watching TV, cable news. as your main source, and depending on them, do your research for yourself. Now, speaking of, it seems like the feds have also raided Project Veritas. Some of the reporters of Project Veritas. I guess it has to do with an admission of Joe Biden's niece claiming that she has been sexually harassed and sexually molested by him and others. Now, Project Veritas said they never published it because they could not verify it. But that did not stop the feds anyway from invading. Probably because all the damage Project Veritas has done, and considering that probably Phil Murphy lost his election in New Jersey over this, and the amount of influence and the corruption Project Veritas has come across, you can bet the Biden administration and the people in D.C. are scared to death of Project Veritas and will do anything to take them down. I mean, it is sad that when you start using the federal agencies to protect the corruption that's going on in D.C., as I've been saying, I used to think the FBI was repairable. The FBI needs to go, along with the CIA and all these agencies, because it's been proven over and over again that these agencies were created to protect the elites in D.C. and no one else. Like a good con job, they gave the appearance that they were working for us. Meanwhile, they were working against us. It is what it is, folks. History has a tendency of repeating. And speaking of courtroom drama, it seems like this Kyle Rittenhouse case is becoming more clearer and clearer by the day. First started when the judge said, stop referring to people who got shot as victims and start referring to them as looters or rioters, which what they were. Good job by the judge. Okay, then we had a video that was released that the FBI kept from us about, hearing Kyle Rittenhouse saying, does anyone need medical help? Does anyone need medical help? As these same people who were shot by him were chasing him in the first place, which we knew already. And now today on the stand, it seems like one of the witnesses said, yep, Kyle Rittenhouse did not shoot anyone until he had a gun pointed at him first by an ex-felon who probably had a gun illegally. As far as I'm concerned, I've been telling you all along, they had no chance of convicting Kyle Rittenhouse. And I still say, as corrupt as a lot of court systems are, I believe from what I've seen from this judge right now, that's not happening. I mean, eventually it's going to be held up to the jury, but right now, the defense team for Kyle Rittenhouse is tearing the prosecution apart right now. I mean, it's pretty embarrassing right now if you're a prosecutor up in that Wisconsin County right now. I mean, you are being embarrassed, you're being torn to shreds, and your reputation is gonna, well, you might as well just never run for district attorney ever again. And you should probably retire and start another career. So those are the three main stories I have for you today. The D.C. County Jail conditions, which is horrifying to think how this can happen in our country. Kyle Rittenhouse's story, and of course Project Veritas getting raided by the feds, even though they were not going to publish anything because they themselves admit they could not verify anything. Alright folks, keep the country in prayer. Jesus Christ is still King. I'm going to tell you right now, do not be discouraged what you see happen this month. Now, you may see that as a message of not being encouraged. Well, it's the opposite. You should be encouraged. Because we're seeing the bad guys do a lot of desperate things because the walls are closing in and the heat is getting too hot for them. And I'm telling you right now, Kathy Hochul will not finish Governor Cuomo's term. And speaking of governors, has anyone seen Governor Newsom lately? I think it's been about 11, 12 days since we've seen him. They say he took one for the team. He wasn't at the climate summit. Same thing with Jen Psaki, another one who seems to be missing right now. Are they too suffering from their own delusion? Are they too suffering from they invested their ego into crap science? Don't know. Maybe a while before we know, but as I told you, I said at the beginning of the year, I said at the end of last year that Governor Cuomo and Newsom would not make it through the year. And so far I've been right on Cuomo. I don't see, and I'm times running now on Newsom. We'll see how far that goes. And the same thing with Joe Biden. I mean, they say Joe Biden's popularity is up to 37%. I think that's an inflated number. I think it's well into the teens myself. Okay? That's just me, though. Everything Joe Biden has touched and tried to touch has gone to crap. Anyway, keep the country in prayer. Don't be discouraged. Keep your hope up. It's going to get darker before we see the light, but we are going to see the light. God bless you all. We'll talk to you later.